Now, the Treasury is reportedly considering stricter rules on gifting money and assets, as it's looking to boost inheritance tax revenue ahead of the autumn budget. Now, the Labour Party has also confirmed that inheritance tax will apply to workers' retirement savings even before they die if they don't reach pensionable age, a move that some experts are claiming is abhorrent. Well, let's speak now with the economics expert, the legendary Justin Urquhart Stewart. Justin, always a pleasure. And of course, there you are, resplendent in your red braces. Justin, a lot of people saying inheritance tax is the cruelest cut of all. It's money you've worked for your entire life. You should be allowed to enjoy it at your leisure. Of course, it only affects a small amount of people, but with a £50 billion black hole on the table, the dragnet is widening. Tell us about the changes.
No, the proposed idea is obviously try and cut on some of the reliefs and try and get more people in it. But as you say, very small number of people actually pay this tax. But the iniquitous thing with this is often you're having to pay tax on something you've already paid tax on because you've earned that money. So how many times do you want to go back to the well and let's squeeze a little bit more out of that? Sorry, bad mixed metaphor there. But the whole point is to try and actually get more money in. That's the baseline. But if you look at about the amount that IHT brings in, it's probably about 6 or 7 billion. Compared with the black hole, apparently 40 to 50 billion. These are minor areas, but very painful to those who have to pay for them. What they need to do, and should be her excuse she can get away with once, is to quote Maynard Keynes when he said, "When the facts change, I change," a well-known economist. The facts have changed. She could then turn around and say, "Look, I'm sorry, it's not the same situation it was before. We're now going to have to change the key elements, the main ones." And bear in mind, that's what she's done with national insurance, income tax, corporation tax. What you could do with income tax is say, right, we're going to do an increase for 5 years and actually make sure it's got a kill clause in it, so it actually does change. And then also, a bit more imagination, actually say, if you're willing to actually pay tax now, we'll give you a benefit on your inheritance tax so that actually the next generation comes through can benefit from the good efforts you've made to dig the government out of this hole.
And the way this is changing, of course, there used to be the 7-year rule. So you give money to your relatives, your children, whomever, and there was a tapering down of tax depending how long you lived after that was gifted. But they're going to close that down. And a key point here, Justin, is that many poor people who may be asset rich but relatively cash poor, elderly people who've lived in a property for many decades, find themselves unwittingly the victim of inheritance tax grabs. They won't have clever accountants. They won't know what to do until it's too late. Clever people shift their money around. It hits people who can't defend themselves against it.
It's iniquitous when you think of those people who paid by the rules, they've saved their money, paid their mortgage off, and found themselves in a position where they can look after themselves. And then you find suddenly you're going to get kicked in the back because someone's going to hit your inheritance bill, which will affect the rest of your family. Many of whom, and this is a key point for a lot of people now saying for your children, how are they actually going to buy the house for them? We were able to in our generation, we were lucky. Next generation can't. How do you do it? The answer is the family does it by having money crossing the generations. Now, what you're doing there is actually creating a tax or increasing the tax to stop that money flowing through and giving people more insecurity. This, I'm afraid, is Treasury speak without using any imagination whatsoever, and Labour not really understanding that actually figures for the IHT are tiny. You've got to be able to go after the bigger figures before you make any difference at all. All you're going to do in the meantime is just make people incredibly annoyed looking at these minor issues. For heaven's sake, fix the bigger issues, such as getting the economy going, not with money, but with guarantees and enterprise insurance schemes. Do that regionally around the country, doing that, and you'll start getting more people setting up businesses and carry on investing. We need to do that. Actually, just merely saying, well, let's go, what else can we squeeze out of this rather tired-looking lemon, isn't actually going to be any benefit to anybody, possibly some accountants, but it'll actually just make people fed up. And if you're a politician doing this, why would you bother?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, and half of that might get taxed. Justin Urquhart Stewart, always an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you very much.
Have you had a random call lately from a strange number, maybe trying to sell you something or even scam you? If so, your info could be out there. That's because of data brokers, shady companies that scrape the internet for your personal details and sell them to marketers or even scammers. These days, scammers can even use AI to mimic your friends' voices and trick you into sending money. It's not just annoying. Data brokers often target vulnerable people with high interest loans or sketchy offers. But there is a solution. Incogni, the sponsor of this video. Incogni contacts data brokers on your behalf and requests your info be deleted from their databases. And because your data can keep popping up, Incogni keeps sending removal requests to make sure it stays gone. They've just launched a new unlimited plan with custom removals. If you find your info on a weird website, just send them the link and their privacy team will work to get it taken down. Getting started is easy. Hit the link in the description, create your account and let Incogni handle the rest. It's risk-free for 30 days and you'll get 60% off an annual plan with the code GBNews. Take back control of your data with Incogni.
Joined today, it's Wednesday, of course, all day in the studio by GB News' senior political commentator Nigel Nelson. Nigel Nelson. Now, of course, the Labour Party will say, well, people who've got £1 million houses don't vote Labour. Why should we care? But more and more people are getting dragged into this net now. And Mel Stride has said today, nothing is safe under Labour.
Well, Rachel Reeves has got to get the money from somewhere. So she's quite clearly exploring different ways of doing it. So inheritance tax under consideration. All that would mean, and it depends where the cap lies, would be capping the amount that you can give 7 years before you die. The moment you can give everything 7 years before you die, now you would actually cap that amount, and the remainder would then be subject to tax. What we don't know, obviously, is what kind of level they're thinking about that cap actually biting at.
But they even estimate if they do all this, it will only bring in £14 billion. Now that's a lot of money. But that's half of the Chagos giveaway. Well, the point is, the Labour Party seems to be spending like a drunken sailor, and they're taxing people who've worked their entire lives and and rightfully should be able to pass it on to their children to give them the benefit of life. I work hard in my life because I want my kids, the next generation, to benefit. That's the point of human life. This has been snatched away by Labour government. It feels cruel.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that nobody likes taxes, whatever they might be. So the farmers...
Well, Rachel Reeves does. She loves them.
She likes raising them. I mean, the chancellors always do like raising them, all of them. So it's not a particular thing for Rachel Reeves. But nobody likes tax rises. The farmers didn't like it. We don't want our income taxes to go up, but there will be almost certainly stealth taxes. So we'll have to the personal allowance won't go up at 2028.
But Nigel, there's a feeling is you don't vote for Labour, who cares? You're a farmer, we'll take your farm. You're a pensioner, we'll take you into fuel allowance.
Well, pensioners vote Labour, so it was an odd thing to do.
Well, let's see about that next time, shall we? And now you've managed to save carefully your life into a pension pot. We're going to take that. Meanwhile, they won't cut any benefits to those who sit on their backsides all day. There's a backbench rebellion. This is the party that takes from the workers and gives to the work shy.
Well, it's not taking it from the workers because
they've worked all their life to build this inheritance pot.
What they're doing is protecting workers with no rise in income tax, VAT, or employee national insurance. That's what they have promised. Justin mentioned the fact that she should actually break that promise and then increase income tax. Well, breaking a manifesto promise is pretty serious for a party, especially one that's only been in for just over a year by the time the budget comes round. Wealth taxes, gambling taxes, there are other things that you can go for, and add on to this inheritance tax.
Cut universal credit to foreigners. Don't give the Chagos Islands away. Don't splurge billions of pounds on carbon capture schemes, on giving it away to foreign countries. They could do that. They don't do that. They choose to tax people who don't vote for the Labour Party. That's my point. Thank you very much. We've got to move on.